They came by land, sea and air to swell the population of the small island of St Mary's in the Isles of Scilly. Clevedon News chose to travel by helicopter on this, their first overseas assignment. Other more hardy souls chanced a calm voyage on the island's only ferry, the Clevedon, which also undertook to transport the 100 or so pilot gig boats, including Clevedon's own 2 boats, Watch and Pray and Blackbird, that descended on the island paradise. For this, the 23rd World Pilot Gig Championships to be held here. Like many other groups, Clevedon had hired a beachside house where they could store their gigs and, with due ceremony, launch them straight into the harbour each day. The first 4 races were held on the stretch of water between the island of St Agnes and St Mary's Harbour, nearly 2 miles away. The veteran ladies rowing in the first race for Clevedon were Marion Eyre, Sarah Shopland, Angela Slotty, Sue Brown, Rowena Hastings and Sarah Harris. They were coxed by Chris Trollope.
Right, big cheer!
A chilly but dry morning greeted us on the Saturday, and this time the Clevedon News team took to the waters aboard the good ship Meridian for a better view of proceedings. These seeding races were designed to sort out the men from the boys. The position of the teams after these races determined their group position in the subsequent races. Clevedon had entered 2 teams in this race. The ladies' A team, rowing their newly purchased gig Blackbird, consisted of Emily Tolchard, Joe Trollope, Sue Brown, Sarah Shopland, Kath Simons and Marion Eyre, with Steve Williams their coxswain. The ladies' B team, in Watch and Pray, was Lucy Rees, Thierry Morph, Rowena Hastings, Angela Slotty, Helen Bell and Sarah Harris. Their cox was Dave Hall.
Come on, Mother. Back into it.
These seeding races were held on the same St Agnes to St Mary's course, which meant that once again the crews had to row the length of the course out to the start before the race began. Clevedon also fielded 2 teams for the men's seeding race. The A team in Blackbird was Andrew Brown, Steve Williams, Steve Burnside, John George, Mark Shopland and Andy Woodland. Their cox was Joe Trollope. The men's B team in Watch and Pray was Gary Simons, Chris Trollope, Martin Salisbury, Len Collicott, Martin Brown and Dave Hall. Angela Slotty was their cox. Between races, the 2 gigs returned to their home base, and crew changes were effected in true shipshape and Clevedon fashion. The racing now moved to a shorter course, starting from Nut Rock, which is just off the island of Tresco, and ending again at St Mary's Harbour entrance. This time the teams were started in groups according to their position in the previous seeding races. The winning 2 teams in each group moved up to the next group, and the losing 2 teams moved down a notch. There are 2 heats like this, a bit like sorting out the wheat from the chaff. All very confusing, I know, so it's probably best to just sit back and enjoy the spectacle. further add to the confusion, for the 2 heats of this section, Watch and Pray was rowed by the men's C team, consisting of Chris Hastings, John McGigan, Rob Gate, Brian Gibbon, Richard James and Alan Sibley. Their cox was Gary Simons. Once the island's customs house, the property used by the Clevedon contingent was not only convenient to the beach, but it served as a useful place for socialising between and after races. But enough of this conviviality. The Atlantic Ocean awaits, and with the good ship Matthew in attendance, the final races of the weekend were about to take place. As always, the ladies were the first to go, of course.
Go right scrap for second and third, that's for sure.
The form was the same. The gigs were dispatched from the start line in batches, according to their positions in the previous heats. And the winner of the last group was to be declared the overall winner of the championships. The ladies' overall winner was Black Rock from the Falmouth Pilot Gig Club, and all the other competitors, well over 100 boats, formed a channel of honour, saluting the winner with their oars raised high. Clevedon News again took to the water for the last race, the men's final. And yes, that is Bishop Rock Lighthouse on the horizon as Watch and Pray passes by. The overall winner was again the good gig Black Rock, this time rowed by the dauntless male citizens of Falmouth. You could say it was a gigging double whammy. On Sunday the 3rd of June, Watch and Pray will be one of over 1,000 craft taking part in the Queen's Jubilee pageant on the River Thames in London. Clevedon News plans to bring you exclusive coverage of this momentous occasion, including, we hope, some onboard pictures which even the mighty BBC television won't be showing. The plan is that on its return to Clevedon on Tuesday the 5th of June, Watch and Pray will proudly stand on the pier, dressed overall in the regalia it displayed during the great day. The decorated gig will be on show until the following Friday. This month, Carol Price has invited a group of Brownies from the 6th Clevedon West Brownie Group, led by their tawny owl, Suzanne Howard, to help her in her allotment. They will be planting tomatoes, lettuces and beetroot, and on a neighbouring plot they will be helping Neil Foster plant some leeks.
They're only small plants, They've only just started growing away because it's been cold, hasn't it?
Look, they're cute.
And we're going to plant them in a very protected area.
Look. My tomato's called Marty. It's Marty, it's a Marty. I've named my tomato.
I found a worm.
I know, I found 20 worms in my whole entire life, so I'm so proud.
Why do you think I'm putting the tomatoes in this little area here?
Because they need to be hot to grow.
They do need to be a bit warm.
I've
Look, here's one. Right, who needs a help?
it's me.
Down and then up.
Is that the way to talk
And then
to me? No, Ellie, you're not. You're just being sarcastic.
We're going to be famous.
Yeah, it's going to be famous.
We're going to be famous for being in Brownies. Quite a few
I found some with
All of us are going to be famous for being in Brownies.
Okay, be brave. Just
This is
upside down.
topsoil.
That's leek. Alright, that's fully grown. Yep, so that's what it will turn. What you're going to plant will turn into that, but it'll take a year to get that. Yeah.
Alright.
Push it in.
Got to do your 4 times table.
That's got to go
now.
down to that white tape. You see? Go on, you can do it. Go on.
Spin it round and round.
You could. Oh, you're going to say you could all. You're not letting them do it.
Put it in. No, I'm doing it. Oh, God, what please. Who wants a root?
Okay. You going to put it in? Oh, good. Last.
Shall I do that? Can I water it? Yeah.
If there's a weed, does it feel nice and small and crumbly, the soil? Is it into a small sizes or is it a big lump still?
How's yours, Charlotte?
I think that's really good there. That's
All the
good.
smoke is going into my
test each
eyes.
other's what they've done and see whether they
Right. So I've got a pencil and 2 dibbers, and this is what you need to do because these are small plants. You need to poke it out like that, hold it up like that, just hold it, and then you make our little hole with your dibber and just drop him in. Okay girls, if you separate them out, just tease them out gently with your fingers. Remember they've got little roots, they're only tiny plants, you've got to be gentle with them.
Where's my dibber gone?
You haven't planted your dibber
Right.
as well.
See if you can separate them out a bit more, plant them a little bit further
What's
apart.
gone, Alice?
I planted 2. 1, 2.
All right, you
I
can plant another one
planted
there, another one there.
3.
You need to plant about 4 or 5.
I've done 5.
Whatever his name is.
When you've done 5, we'll go and get a watering can and give them a good
Shall I go and get
sprinkle.
I think I'm on the water. My hand might get scary. Oh my gosh, I just realised I couldn't.
They're quite chunky seeds, so when you put them in, you can spread them out wide, so they're not all on top of each other. Beetroot seeds.
Dig up my little seed that's on
And then we'll
there.
go and get a watering can and just gently
Can I
water.
be the first one to
If you
go?
could go get the watering can, that would be great. Yeah.
Well, is the watering can?
Over there, your friend's got it.
Good at just.
So if we spread them out,
Annabelle, you've got mud.
You don't need gloves.
I know. Stop! You're overfilling it. Every time we say spiders. Ah, there's a massive, huge spider there.
By now, I've stopped flowers, keep them out, or have friends in the black market.
The next show to be seen at the Princess Hall will be a joint production by the Clevedon Players and the Comedy Club called Back to the Land. It tells of the life of the many girls who volunteered for the Women's Land Army during the last World War. Clevedon News called in to watch a recent rehearsal.
Talking of Christmas, even if some of us are going home, we still ought to do something to brighten the place up a bit.
Oh, for God's sakes, can't you stop that?
I tell you, isn't that bad?
That's hers and Michael's special song, and she hasn't heard from him for weeks.
Oh, trust me to put my foot in it. You should have said, Dottie.
Well, I never thought till she fled. And if you weren't to know, there's always one little thing that just turns you over. Michael's emergency, involved from the beginning. And Alice says she thinks there's a big push on and she's no idea where they're heading, whether they're in convoy or not. Last year, they were zigzagging across the ocean without any protection.
We've gone all serious again. Now, about those bananas. We could put on a bit of a do here for Christmas.
Oh, yes.
And I could do my Carmen Miranda number.
Come on then, please now.
I like you very much.
Carmen, it's a shock.
Mrs. Maitland's asked me to come up and tell you lot to make less noise.
What are you doing over here at this time of night, Cliff?
My dad needs some help with some new sheet pens over the next few days, and I've asked if any of you can come over.
Hey girls, never mind Carmen Miranda, we could have George Bombay.
I'm leaning on a lamp. Maybe you think I look a tramp, or you may think I'm hanging around to steal a car. But no, I'm not a crook, and if you think that's what I look, I'll tell you why I'm here and what my motives are. I'm
Leaning on a lamppost at the corner of the street in case a certain little lady comes by. Oh me, oh my,
I hope that if the lady comes by,
I don't know if she'll get away, she doesn't always get away, but anyhow I know that she'll try. Oh me, oh my,
I hope that if the lady comes by, there's no other girl I would wait for, but this one I'd break any date for. I won't have to ask what she's late for. She wouldn't leave me flat, she's not a girl like that. She's
absolutely wonderful and marvelous and beautiful, and anyone
can understand
why. I'm leaning on a lamppost at the corner of the street in case a certain little lady passes by.
That's it, Cliff. You've got the part, but you'll need some serious rehearsal, mind.
So, shall I tell Mrs. Maitland that you know about the sheep?
Okay, there'll be loads of girls wanting to play Little Bo Peep to your little boy Blue.
The idea of farmers bringing their own wares into a town and offering them for sale on market stalls was not a new one. Even 10 years ago, when Queen Square became host to the popular monthly farmers' market. But somehow we do love to remember an anniversary, and Clevedon's farmers' market on the last Saturday in May celebrated its first decade of existence with 2 celebratory cakes that were cut by the newly elected town chairman, Councillor John Middleton. He was performing his first official duty following his election to the post. Although we were only halfway through the morning, the strawberry seller had already sold all her produce. 440 punnets in 90 minutes. It must be a record. Over at the Clevedon Lion stand, those who had skipped their Saturday breakfast were able to indulge in a bacon bap. Whilst the local young farmers were pulling in the youngsters with a practical demonstration of where their daily pinter comes from.
I can't do it with you. That's nice. Thank you.
Just before the town celebrates the Queen's Diamond Jubilee, the rather tired and wind-blown national flags adorning our seafront have been replaced. There are 30 such flags alongside the marine lake and along the promenade by the main beach. The test is, can anyone name all the countries represented? No prizes for the correct answer though. One observer noted that for the first time in possibly 40 years, the flag post alongside the miniature railway line on Salthouse Field was proudly sporting a flag. And not any old flag either, but fittingly, for the forthcoming Jubilee weekend, a Union flag. The latest news in the saga of the dilapidated Regent pub in Hill Road is that the developers of the Royal Pier Hotel, Fremantle Developments, have come to an agreement with the Regent's owner, Mark Hiscox, to renovate the site and seek planning permission to convert it into 2 retail units with 18 1- and 2-bedroom apartments above. The building was first constructed in the 1870s and was for many years a popular watering hole, but of late it has been left to literally fall apart, with complaints that massive lumps of masonry have been seen to fall from it. So dangerous has it become that a scaffolding tunnel was built to protect the pedestrians using the pathway. In our February edition, we reported that Campbell's Landing had closed and the windows were boarded up. Well, the good news is that the popular pub has now reopened under new management following a refurbishment. It is now being run by the 2 Lees. Lee Thorne is the new manager and Lee Emery is the new landlord. Plans are now underway to revise the regular live music events and to run a Sunday carvery, as well as the breakfast and takeaway fish and chips being served each day. Future plans also include opening up the 8-bedroom B&B, which has always been part of the business. Despite the hold which was placed on the plans to build a new hospital for Clevedon, news has come through that the project is still on track, albeit with a few changes being made to the original plans. Work was due to be started at the old Quicksave site in Millfields at the end of last year, but a hold was put on it so that North Somerset NHS could review its plans. The result is that a few changes have been made, and it is now hoped that approval will be forthcoming in July and the new hospital will be completed by the end of 2014. Recent maintenance work on the sea wall of the marine lake was described by the lake enthusiast group Marlins as an emergency repair. First, a mechanical scoop was brought in by North Somerset Council to clear the paddling pool end of the accumulation of pebbles and small rocks which had been thrown here by the tides. And then, as they had received complaints that the leaks were getting too big and that there were fears that the wall would collapse, the lake was drained. In the 1920s this area was known as Stinking Corner because of the seaweed and dead creatures that were dumped by the tides to decay and pollute the air. The marine lake was originally opened in 1923 after a long campaign by Councillor Frederick Nutting to improve the area. But success for the venture only came when he purchased the foreshore rights with his own money and shamed the council into building the lake. In its heyday, swimmers could dress using the numerous changing rooms available and could then enter the water by means of a diving board, a springboard or even a slide. There were rowing and paddling boats for hire, and deck chairs were available at the paddling pool end where families could sit and chat whilst watching the kids enjoying the water. As part of the recent maintenance work, the leaks were sealed using quick-dry cement packed with pebbles, but the work is only considered temporary as a Heritage Lottery Fund bid for first-round funding has been lodged. It is being driven by Ian Parkin, who is also guiding the Pier Trust bid for their visitor centre. The Marine Lake bid focuses on making a permanent improvement to the lake's outer wall, but Joe Norman, chairman of Marlins, tells us that even if the bid is successful, work won't start before winter 2014, so they have to keep patching the holes in the meantime. The following week, two larger JCBs appeared on the still dry floor of the lake and started scraping up large quantities of mud. This will be a sight to please those canoe and sailing boat instructors who actually walk about in the water during lessons to ensure the safety of their students. They are often heard to complain how difficult it is to walk through the sometimes thick mud at the bottom. The lake only fills during a really high tide. The next one, of over 12 metres, comes during the first week of June. Regatta Day in Clevedon dawned chilly but bright, and the crews of 24 sailing dinghies, some resident in the town and some visiting for the weekend, were eagerly launching their vessels from the slipway on the main beach. But hang on, there's one thing missing in this exhilarating scenario. Where is the wind? High up on the roof of the Sailing Club's beachside headquarters, Dee Holliday, the officer of the day, and her husband Peter were planning their next course of action. Via two-way radio, Dee spoke to John Evans in the rescue boat.
Valiant, I think we need to postpone this race. Do you agree? How are conditions out there? Over?
Conditions are not good. You can see that everyone is stationary and we're now starting to pull people back. So yeah, I think the postponement is probably the right thing to do at this stage. Over.
They call it the doldrums, and in Clevedon Bay, yachts with no wind in their sails become the victims of the fast-moving currents, and on this occasion they were being sucked up under the pier. Even the canoes are making better progress today. The weekend was not lost, however. The sails were filled on Sunday and preparations were made to the various classes of dinghy competing in the day's racing. The Sailing Club Commodore, John Evans, was first off the slipway with one of the two rescue boats owned by the club, and soon 24 yachts had joined him out in Clevedon Bay. The club, which was formed way back in 1947, owns 12 dinghies, which are available for use by the 120 active sailing members. A further 80 or so non-active members serve to give backup to the sailors in a variety of ways, by acting as the office of the day, launching and retrieving the boats in the beach party, preparing food as galley helps, and during the après sailing they provide bar cover. To the viewer on the shore, it is sometimes difficult to understand what is going on. Who is in the lead? Why is that boat going in a different direction? Who has the right of way? Sharing the bay with the sailing club was the pilot gig Watch and Pray, which had just returned from its spring holidays to the Isles of Scilly. Our camera went on board for some different views of the action.
Look, look, look. Isn't it fab?
Even the first dinghy past the finishing line isn't necessarily the winner, as there are various different classes of yacht out there. Still, it does make a pretty picture. The welcoming sound of the St Mary's Walton church bells, but these are not the bells today's visitors have come to hear. No, the Lady Bay handbell ringers are holding a coffee morning, and coincidentally the bookings seem to have clashed. During the morning, those interested could have a go, under strict instructions of course. The handbell ringing group was founded in 1998, and the present team of 8 have been ringing together for some 5 years, under the guidance of Jean Waterhouse. They meet on Monday afternoons at St Mary's Church Hall. Anyone who fancies having a go should contact their secretary, Rosemary Powell, on Clevedon 843 045.